Hello, my country people then. We don't come live today when on number 16 day for September 2022. As we join, we know the usual routine. We share, make it go far and wide. I sorry say I come 10 minutes later than planned. Now because of some small technical difficulties and also because I be one for prepare one or two information for present them to una before I come live. So as una join, una know the usual routine. Una match fire for share make it go far and wide. Today, MKPD is live. And if you see I'm on una screen, the topic of discussion, I want for discuss or make my own reaction to the interview between, Cum Leonard of My Media Prime and Dr. Simon Munzu. So, as una join, una match fire for share and make it go far. I'll play parts and snippets of the interview where he conducted a couple of days ago on the 14th of September. So now a recent something, and then I'll give una my own opinions and I'll give una my reaction. Thank you plenty my country people them. So Black Legs assemble. Una assemble. MKPD is live. Una share them for WhatsApp, for YouTube, everywhere you go. Una share and make it go far and wide. Say countryman it dey live. Right. So we'll go play Wakumkum anthem, and then we'll play Cameroon anthem as well, and then we'll take them from there.
Hail, hail, hail the Kumkumasa, we the Cameroonians, we pledge our loyalty. Kumkumasa, Kumkumasa, you shall free our country from terror, and your blessing shall be like the stars above. The Most High God shall be your guide.
Thank you plenty my country people them. Today, na Friday, number 16 day for September 2022. Countryman, it don't come for give una a reaction to the interview where Cum Leonard it be granted to, or where Dr. Simon Munzu it be granted to Mr. Cum Leonard of My Media Prime. And parts of the interview where me I go touch on now this flag where we see them on the screen. So if we look at this picture, will be taken from 1995, if I'm not mistaken. Now the members of the SCNC, Southern Cameroon National Council, and other people them. So if we look right in the middle of that picture, now Pa Foncha, that when I see Pa Mola Litumbe, it also play a part for this live broadcast, and it go explain it. And then when I see this person where it dey right here, where it the center of the picture right now, right there. Now Dr. Simon Munzu, that he be been a spokesperson for SCNC in those days in the mid-90s. So he go explain for una exactly what we, because I be do live broadcast on this particular issue a couple of days before Mr. Cum Leonard bring Dr. Simon Munzu for can explain what to be happen on the Mungo Bridge with that United Nations flag. and then I go also expatiate and give una my own reaction about the whole interview and everything else. So when they start talk, they go talk about this flag. Once again, I want to apologize for una because it is so I come about 10 minutes later than planned. So I would like to refer back to this flag in a few minutes time. So make I will need to go up to that flag in a few minutes time. Okay, so I know how it is. So on the screens for una go see now the link that for the live broadcast where it will happen on my media prime a couple of days ago, 14th of September 2022. And if una, I go encourage every single person, like how me they always talk, with the talk with evidence. We want make the people the way they be there on the day where they be there present, they explain exactly what will be happen. So nobody has second-hand information. We want to make una get first-hand information so that una go be better informed. Okay, so I will play for una clips and of that interview, and then I will give una my own reaction. Now, like I tell una, if una want to watch the full interview, now the link that is there on the screen. Okay, when I go to my media prime, their Facebook page, when I access, when I scroll to the 14th of September, when I go see the live broadcast, it's still there. When I watch the whole interview, I encourage it. I actually implore every single person for go watch that live broadcast because it is very informative and it will be very educational for people, then especially Anglophone Cameroonians, and for understand the level at which Anglophones they go to for do which way they run the duam for the past few decades, where it lead we to this impasse and to this Ambazuna terrorism, destruction and madness, beheadings and all of those destructions where they happen, the devastation in the Anglophone zone. So that make you better understand which way it happen. My contribution. So without further ado, I go straight into the whole presentation. But before I go into the presentation, I also want for make una understand, say, I want for appreciate two people them, both Mr. Mr. Cum Leonard of my media prime for your relentless effort and professionalism at bringing out these pertinent topics of discussion and engaging Cameroonians in these discussions, because this is exactly what we need. This is part of the national dialogue where we need for understand the truth and the reality, the history, and also understand from the people the way they will be involved at the time. So I want to congratulate and for send my sincere what's the word I'm looking for? Thanks, gratitude for the presenter, for Mr. Cum Henry of, I keep saying Cum Henry. I don't know where the name Henry comes from. Why do I keep thinking of Henry? I mean Mr. Cum Leonard of my media prime. As a matter of fact, before the end of this month, September, I guarantee you, not just say I don't get mobile money accounts out there, but I would definitely send you even that one credit mimbo for just say thank you for the fantastic job we do, and especially because you did do under extremely difficult, challenging situations, and being a victim of Ambazuna terrorism and know exactly what you must have been going through. Once you put your voice out there, you put your profession, your career, and your media organization out there to tell the truth, you become a target and an enemy to Ambazuna terrorism, because the greatest enemy of Ambazuna terrorists is the truth. So I want for congratulations, and I also want to thank Dr. Munzu for this particular interview and many other outings that when it don't come out for sensitize the general public about the reality of what they happen in Cameroon. Despite the fact that me and you will get small differences here and there, but those are very, very, very superficial. And like I said, I no go ever throw away my 80% in pursuit of 20% yes. No human being no day on the surface of this earth where you go ever agree 100% of the time, every single time with that person. So every now and again we disagree. But like now who we talk, even when we disagree, we should agree to disagree, and it should be agreeable that we disagree. So that said, I will go straight into the interview with Dr. Munzu will be granted to my media prime. So we will first of all talk about that particular flag. I want make una understand. Every now and again I will stop the interview and then I go play for una other pieces of information where it go make una better understand and digest the information where una dey receive them. And if needs be, I go stop for also give una my own personal reactions, opinions, and commentary on what way Mr. Kumlenot and Dr. Simon Munzu they talk about. I hope that one be okay. Now, make we go now for go play about the SCNC, their trip to New York. I think it was 1994 or 1995. It was exactly the mid-90s, but I'm not exactly sure on the date. But if we'll get any person for you, we know the exact date, post time for we, but I'm sure it's 1995. And then at that time that they become with that United Nations flag, cross the Mongo, and they go tell those lies to the Anglophones then. And those are some of the micro lies that built up over time that has led us to which way we suffer from in the Anglophone zone today. Now listen.
You say that the Banjul Commission outrightly rejected specifically this move towards independence. But when you met you went with Muna Foncha and I'm sure Barrister Elat to the UN, and you were received there. You came back and you clearly state that you people deceived the people. What did you discuss? You said you were received for 45 minutes. You left Cameroon as a delegation, went to the UN, and you were accorded 45 minutes audience. What did you discuss with the representative of the Secretary General of the UN? And what did he tell you?
In the course of the audience, we recounted the story of the reunification of our two territories on the basis that we would be a federation of two states of equal status, and that this had been adhered to between 1961 and 1972. But in 1972, that founding agreement was breached.
So before I continue, now one of the very few points in this way, I disagree with Dr. Simon Munzu because of historical fact. The historical fact, Dr. Simon Munzu, he make a revelation for this particular interview, say he could turn 73 years old at the end of, or next month. Wait, means that if you calculate the age, you can see and say this, so Dr. Simon Munzu, it will be of a voting age for 1972, when we will get a referendum in Cameroon, 1972. I was not born yet, okay? Dr. Simon Munzu, we don't really be around 25 years away, means that it be surely vote. I would like for know from Dr. Simon Munzu how it be vote for that referendum when they be hold them on the 11th of February, it was on the 20th of May, 1972, when we all Cameroonians, and both in East Cameroon and West Cameroon, they be vote for that referendum for make Cameroon a unitary state. And the statistics will come up from that election, from that referendum, more than 90% of Anglophones, ordinary commoners, like Dr. Simon Munzu ABB at that time, for 1972, 20th of May, more than 90% of Anglophones voted to dismantle the federal system and create the unitary state that Cameroon Cameroon has today. And then now that after that referendum, it go back now into the West Cameroon House of Assembly, it go back to the East Cameroon House of Assembly, and to the Federal Assembly. And in each of these houses, they voted by a majority for dismantle the federal constitution and the federal state of Cameroon, for create the United Republic of Cameroon. Okay, so like I've been talk, if you now go for the federal constitution of Cameroon, it talks about it, say sovereignty lies with the people. What means it? Now the people of the country, they own the sovereignty of the country. So anything where it won't happen in the country, a change of law, a change of the form of state, it has to be done by the people, by the will of the people. Now, why that way? A referendum was held to gather the popular opinion of the people before the federal constitution was dismissed and the unitary state was formed. The people voted. And then also, according to the federal constitution, if we talk for the, if I'm not mistaken, Article 47, if we talk for they say, no change can happen to that federal constitution unless a majority of the members of the Federal Assembly in the West Cameroon agree to it. The same it will happen. Wait, means everything. No change. Nothing happen to the federal constitution in Cameroon unless a majority in the East Cameroon House of Assembly they agree to it. Wait, means everything. The two House of Assembly from East Cameroon and West Cameroon they will get a veto vote. Wait, means everything. It no matter what you want to talk about. When the members of the East Cameroon they decide to say no, it means no. No change can happen. No law can be amended or changed unless both East Cameroon they agree and West Cameroon they agree. Where it means forefathers them for West Cameroon at the time they will get that veto power, very important power. Now, if we want to understand exactly why the federal constitution was changed and whatnot, if we talk about that, you will have to listen to Professor Julius Nyi and other people the way they also come for my media program and they can't explain them for una. One of the things the way be happen where the way Anglophone Cameroonians them they be want for cancel and dismantle the federal system now because they were suffering under the federal system. It was not just because Amadou Ahidjo it convinced Anglophones them by more than 90% for go vote for dismantle the federation. No, it was not just that. It was because by the time, and when I know this to be fact, and Dr. Simon Munzu, ego allude to that during the interview. If when I go watch the full interview, ego explained, say, it was the British. The British went and said to the United Nations that this particular territory was not viable to be an independent sovereign state on its own. One of the reasons was because the British invested nothing in the former Southern Cameroons. As far as they were concerned, they would just take that small, tiny part of the territory for attach them to Nigeria to get a greater influence in the West Central African area. That was their plan. They no built not a single university in the Anglophone zone. They no built nothing. As a matter of fact, everything where the Anglophone Cameroonians they get them from colonial past, now the ones the way the Germans they leave them behind. So make una understand that history. So the British they built nothing, and the British they become actually when they decide say so this territory ego need for join either Nigeria or Cameroon. The British they actually campaign say make the former Southern Cameroons make the vote for joining Nigeria, but because of the experiences the way our forefathers they don't already get them with the Igbo people them where they talk about over domination and marginalization and segregation and all of those things them. Now why that way our forefathers they say now lie better we'll go reunite with our former brothers them in the Francophone zone. Okay, so now the Anglophones them, the former Southern Cameroons, they go against the advice of the British for go join French Cameroon. It was against the advice of the British. Make una understand that one. And now make her explain like I talk. The British invested nothing in the former Southern Cameroons. Nothing. They just go for there for go exploit. And now one of the reasons that way they be talking this territory it not be viable for be independent on their own because they know because they invested nothing. There were no graduates, there were no educational facilities, there was no infrastructure in that territory. Now, but the French, they will actually do some small work, small, not much, but small, for prepare French Cameroon for independence. And why the way by 1st of January 1960, they get their independence. Okay? Now, when the two federations, they will actually happen for 1st of October 1961, the French Cameroon section it will get advantage over West Cameroon, when English Cameroon. They will get higher wages. Their federal system it will work fine. They will get a higher quality of life. So for exactly the same job, say for example, a primary school teacher in East Cameroon at that time, it will earn more money. Understand? It will earn more money for East Cameroon than a primary school teacher in West Cameroon. When they do exactly the same job, but person will be there for East Cameroon, it will make more money than you were there for West Cameroon. And person will be there for East Cameroon if you get a better quality of life, doing exactly the same thing where you will do. So now what will be prompt our Anglophone brothers and sisters then for talk say where if we make a unitary state and then all we will be of equal, we will fit, whether it no matter if you be primary school teacher, you go earn to because Anglophone Cameroonians they be one for live the same kind of life where Francophones they be live on. They be envy the Francophones. They be want for enjoy the same quality of life, the same high salaries, and how their federation able to work fine for East Cameroon because they've already been an independent sovereign state for almost a whole year. From 1st of January, actually more than a year and a half, from the 1st of January 1960 to the 1st of October 1961. Where it means that the whole of 1960, they will be independent, they run their affairs. And then the whole, up to October, 1 year, 10 months, it will not be independent state before they can join now with now for make the Federal Republic of Cameroon from 1961. So now they will already be established. They had processes, institutions, and all of those things going. Then now the new state, a state within a country, when now West Cameroon, it can't join them now. And then now it is suffer from a lot of mismanagement. Cameroon Bank was going bankrupt. Even civil servants, their salaries were not being paid because of the mismanagement of Anglophones in West Cameroon. So make una not believe which way Anglophones will try to rewrite the history and whitewash everything and change the whole thing and make them as if the Anglophone part of Cameroon be been as some paradise before they go join with French Cameroon. That's a big fat lie. Our ancestors, they will decide deliberately for dismantle the federal structure because they want to live the same quality of life where Francophones they live on. So, although not a topic of discussion for this particular interview, I want to clarify that point because Dr. Simon Munzu, it bring him up, say up to 1972, where what's the word he used? I will just play him on continue. I hope so I don't make that point to be clear. Why the federal constitution was abolished and why Anglophones voted. Make una not ever forget that one. Anglophones, both the general population and the West Cameroon House of Assembly voted by a vast majority for dismantle the federation. One of the people who campaigned to dismantle the federation, Nayin Dawe hold that fake United Nations flag on the Mongo. Former Prime Minister of the Republic, John Foncha. Yes, he voted to dismantle the federal system. Yes, all of them, including every single Anglophone elite at the time. Okay, Professor Fondlon, all of them. Okay, Muna, Foncha, all of them voted to dismantle the federal constitution. No mind today whether they talk now to the talk say make we go back to federation, all of those things then. But you voted to dismantle it. It was a political miscalculation, yes. But guess who has to suffer? I mean, Amadou Ayijo, it no be forced any person for vote for dismantle the federal constitution. It's sell a case. Explain the benefits and advantages of dismantling the federal constitution and having a unitary state, and you bought it. You bought his argument and you voted for it. It was a democratic process. And now that it's a unitary state, we now want to go back to the federal system. Sell your case to the Francophones. Sell your case to them, and then if they buy them, and then a process happens, but when I carry cutlass, go kill some Omami for some Benicon, go behead Madame Ayafo Florence for Santa Awing. That is not going to force any Francophone to do what you want. Besides, no man will force Anglophones by the barrel of the gun for vote for dismantle the federal constitution. That is the truth and the reality. Now, when I listen, it continue.
But in 1972, that founding agreement was breached. And from that moment on, we were the object of assimilation, marginalization, and domination. And we can't take it anymore. And therefore, our people held two conferences, AAC 1 and AAC 2. And this is the outcome, which was the Boya Declaration and the Bamenda Proclamation. We shared those documents with the Secretary General through his representative at that meeting. And we also indicated that we had constituted the Southern Cameroon National Council for the purpose of pursuing action to end this subjugation by peaceful means. And we reminded the United Nations that they were responsible they were at the origin of this situation because they deprived Southern Cameroons of the possibility of standing alone as an independent state, which it could have done. It was not, Southern Cameroon was the smallest territory in the world that has independence. It was not the territory with the smallest population that has independence. It was not the territory in the world with the least economic viability that has independence. So we didn't see, we reminded the envoy of the Secretary General that we didn't see any justification why Southern Cameroon was deprived of that option. However, having been boxed into choosing to become independent by joining Nigeria or joining the Republic, and having opted to join the Republic on the basis that we're going to be a federation, an undertaking or an arrangement that the UN was well aware of, we believe that at this point we shouldn't be struggling alone. The UN should come in and exert its moral influence to support us in trying to correct this situation internally. That was the substance of our message. And of course, as would usually happen at the end of such audience, they listen to you for the time that you're granted, and they tell you, all right, we've taken note of all of this, we will report, and you hear from the Secretary General, I'm going to report faithfully, and that was the outcome of the meeting. Now, after that, we did not hear any further from any part of the United Nations on this issue.
After that, were you satisfied with the 45-minute audience that was granted a delegation that left Cameroon to the UN, and who decided to go purchase these flags?
So who decided what?
To go get the flags that you people presented to the population when you returned to Cameroon.
You're asking me who decided to get the flag?
Yes, to go get the UN flags.
As I tell you, the UN flag was bought by Dr. Yongban. It was we went into the UN shop where they have a gift shop. People picked up various things that were interested in, a brooch here, a T-shirt there, and so on, various UN memorabilia. And Dr. Yongban chose to buy for himself 2 flags. And when we got to Cameroon, the Cameroon Anglophone movement component of the mission decided that they would use those 2 flags to brandish them to our population to say that this is a clear sign that the UN is coming to restore our statehood, something that some of us denounced as being deceitful. There was a sufficient message to come and tell our people we have been on a mission, tell them what we achieved, which was not, the achievement was not negligible, because we had put the matter before the UN and there was every prospect of pursuing. We could have explained that to the population and left it at that. But to go from there, brandish a flag which we bought in a shop, to say that this is what was given to us by the UN as a symbol that they are coming to restore our independence, I found that to be reprehensible and unacceptable, morally and otherwise. A number of us did. So that's right.
Okay. So you people were not received by the Secretary General himself. He was received. You people were received by some other person. But how did you? Where did this idea come from, that you get to the Mungo and tell the people that the United Nations was coming to restore the independence of the people of Southern Cameroon, and why has nobody told the truth to the people since then?
As I tell you, the way from the beginning had always been friends. The SCNC. The one that was led essentially by the Cameroon Anglophone movement members who were in the SCNC, including in the council, and the one which comprised of people who were, if you want to say, more moderate, who believed that the solution to this problem did not necessarily warrant that Cameroon splits, divides, separates. And at one point, the Cameroon Anglophone movement members were very active, were dominant, and their will prevailed in instances like that. But that did not change the position of each of our members.
Now, many persons also are quick to say that a decision was arrived at in Banjul, and today we are in a crisis, and almost nobody's talking about what was the outcome of the Banjul ruling.
Yeah, which is a pity. It is not true that I'm is talking about. One characteristic of this period, 2016 to this day, is that unfortunately the media space has been occupied disproportionately by separatist propagandists who have, until quite recently, drowned out the other voices. The people were even afraid to speak up for fear that if they did, they would be killed, the houses would be burned, and so on. So we've had a very difficult environment, in which to express opinion in Cameroon in this past 5 years or more, where on the one hand, if you are not speaking the language of assimilation through the unitary state, the government brands you all sorts of things and tries to victimize you in all sorts of ways. On the other hand, if you are not outright for separation, even though you may be fighting against the assimilation of Anglophones as strongly and as loudly as you can, separatists label you as a blackleg and a sellout and all of that, and don't stop by verbal abuse, threatening your life and so on. So, Mr. Kuhn, everyone knows that it has been a very, very difficult time for moderate voices this past 5 or 6 years. Some of us I personally have had to persist just out of my sheer sense of commitment to the necessity for us to correct this historical injustice of depriving Southern Cameroons of its own personality in an attempt to assimilate us. Otherwise, I would have given up a long time ago. I mean, after all, I'm going to turn 73 next month. Some people will say, some people even call me, why are you continuing? Why don't you just leave it? Dr. Munzu, you try your own in the 90s. And I said to people, yeah.
Thank you, plenty my country people them. I don't read some of our comments them while we're able to talk. So I do on the phone, I do read some of our comments them. So one person, they don't ask me for basically elaborate and also give my reaction to which we don't talk for the past about 6 or 7 minutes, or which we don't talk. So if when I go back, when I go here, if we talk about that flag, ma bring back the flag again for una. I can't show una the flag where we talk about. Okay, it's 9 days. Okay, that's the flag he's talking about, where they will go on the Mungo. Now Dr. Simon Munzu that in the picture. Now Jongo Foncha this, Pa Molali Tumbe that, and all of these 3 people then, where when I know about Pa Foncha, Ego can't talk soon. So wait till we talk now. Say this flag, it will be now one of them, the delegates ready to go for New York, for go see members of the United Nations. They never even seen that the Secretary General himself, but a representative of the Secretary General. And that representative of the Secretary General, it did and say, it go pass on their concerns to the Secretary General until this date, from the mid-1990s, we can't reach the mid-2020s. They never hear nothing from the United Nations about this particular case where they will go. Reach for this person, he buy that United Nations flag for the gift shop. For the gift shop. Your personal flag, he buy 2. Then now they reach the side deliberately for can't lie to the people. And I want to when I be telling now when I talk to countryman, they lie. Now, Dr. Munzu be day for New York, and he be day on the Mungo. Now in that, okay, he be there now one of the people the way they can't lie to una. And then he talks say at that time he be see say that particular thing it be very deceitful and reprehensible. And let me say, una go na your own words, na your choice of words. Una just go Google them. I beg una. When ma help una spell the word, if una want for Google them for know the true meaning. So other person don't leave some comment where I go can't reply to you. Okay. Now bear with me. If una want for find out, for spell the word, find out the meaning for una self, it talks it was very deceitful. Okay, that's how you spell it. It means that for deceive some person, I think it's I before E. To deceive someone, okay, it was very deceitful. It means that they go deceive people them. It was willingly, it was deliberate. You know, to tell a lie, there's a difference between not telling the truth and telling a lie. Not telling a truth, it can mean say, you know, understand which way you talk and you that's so, and no be true. For example, if some person can ask me, say some person can tell me, say Johnny thief my mango. I talk say Johnny no thief you no mango. Me, I don't know me whether na Johnny thief or not. But because say I want to defend Johnny, so I just talk say no me na Johnny thief your mango. That is not true, but it is also not a lie. Because I'm not talking with the sole deliberate intention to deceive you. I hope so when I get the difference between something where it be untruth and a lie. Now, for something for be deceitful, now which way would they call it for layman English say a lie? Where it means that you deliberately go out there for go deceive a person by telling that person something where you know say it not be true. That is a lie. When I understand the difference, it be deceitful. It means that you deliberately go out there for go deceive your own people them. So they know very well, say the so-called mission where they come up for United Nations, knowing that United Nations, it give them that flag. They just can't talk for people. They say they don't do something. They can't put that flag. And then another word we use an assertivity, it be reprehensible. Okay? Now another word that we use them. Now Google them. Reprehensible. Sorry, say I did write very fast and my handwriting, I hope so now if you read them. It say it be reprehensible. When I Google the word reprehensible, now say I'm not, those are damning words where you use them for describe and the way we may first write this thing. So yeah, I hope so that one be better, easier for now for read them. It's reprehensible. It's something you don't want to associate yourself with. Now, the two words in that way you use them for describe that particular incident on the Mongo, where they come with these two flags, it was a deliberate lie. And now because of these lies them, where the talk say United Nations, they come, when I remember for 2016, 2017, what are some of the lies where the Amber terrorists, the Mark Barretta, El Tapto, Ayabacho Lucas, Chris Anu, Sakoe Kome, what are some of the lies where they be tell una? Before a convinced Anglophone youth for carry Chakab and Kradai gone, the fall for Bush. The lies, they be resolved or they be revolve around the United Nations. All of those lies, okay? They be telling us UNESCO. UNESCO is one of the organs of the United Nations. They be telling us say UNESCO, ego ban or ego disband the school year or something like that. It no will recognize the school year as if Cameroon need UNESCO for recognize what school year for Cameroon. No. They will tell una say, when I know someone I pick for school. After all, whether the king go school or no go school, UNESCO, it go ban, it go erase all the school year, all certificates don't pick go get them, it go be nothing anyway. So what's the point? Now some of the lies that they will tell una, it will revolve around the United Nations. They will want me to believe say this. So the United Nations, it come to una rescue because now the United Nations get the powers for recognize sovereign states. Now, they also tell us say the United Nations again it get ships at Ambers Bay. May una go start when una show the United Nations say una want una country back and then now for the United Nations there are ships. I don't know whether the ship na ship goat they will talk about. They take for Ambers Bay or some kind of nonsense like that. All those lies they will revolve around the United Nations. It started on the Mongo. All those lies for Amber terrorism is start now from this picture where we are saying so. And then they also tell us say United Nations it don't already grant their independence. They be telling all these kind of lies. Now, fast forward to 2022. The last word, not guarantee una the last word where Amber terrorists the one for here now United Nations. Una know why? Because they know say that the United Nations it be start this wahala. Now, United Nations, it tell them, say, we not be viable for be independent. Okay? Now, United Nations, it tell them, say, we must vote for join either Cameroon or Nigeria. No be Francophone Cameroon, no be France. Now, United Nations. Now, United Nations, it conduct that plebiscite. Okay? On the 11th of February, 1961. Now, United Nations, he hand over everything to the way it did today. No be Cameroon, no be France, no be French people them, no be Francophone people them. Okay, so now they go now back for United Nations now for go beg. Say me they can't recognize them, but no one person in the international community, especially at the United Nations, no even care, not even one for hear from them at all. And now who's where their frustration comes from. Now, in the course of this discussion with Dr. Simon Munzu, I will also bring una other reactions and other opinions for make una understand. Because Dr. Simon Munzu tell una say for the mid-90s they will go for New York, go meet up a representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations, and that man he listen to them for 45 minutes, then tell them say he go pass their concerns to the Secretary General till this day. More than how many years today? Almost 30 years. No single person never ever contact them about which way they will go for go discuss. But now which is where they reach for Cameroon. They do them. Now the games and this way Anglophones they like them. They play this kind of game, deceive their own people them. Okay? Send them to the slaughterhouse. It was willingly, it was deliberate. Even at that time for 1990s, yes, granted, they don't understand the ramifications and the consequence of which way they do. I understand that. But amongst them, even for 1995, there were people who were already calling for armed separation. If una don't know, make una know today. Okay, now, one other thing where it talk nativity is a for between 2016 and 2000 and now, unfortunately, the amber propagandists for Facebook, they will get a disproportional communication on Facebook. Basically, at the paraphrase which we talk, but when I don't listen to you, which we talk with the own mob. So it talks, and it will get a difficult environment for Cameroon with which to express our opinions, which is absolutely true. And now one of the things in this way, every now and again when I see Countryman, they can't do a live broadcast for show. Now, for example, the other day I do a statistical analysis of or comparative analysis for show now the difference, how we don't change the dynamics on social media, on communication. Now, because it is very important for una to understand which way we una achieve them as black legs. Una input on social media since where we assemble. We don't make them, it become impossible for the amber terrorists to get the monopoly on social media where they be getting for 2016, 17, and 18. Now only them be the talk for social media and they be own the narrative. Now they be set the agenda of discussion for social media. Forward back to 2022, we don't therefore the fight now for 4 years, and for 2022 now we decide which way even amber terrorists they discuss on social media. Now we decide we keep them for more than 10 days talking about Oliver Lekiaka and the Kumkumization. That was me. Now we do that one. From the way where we break in the news, say they don't compromise Oliver Lekiaka, to the way where we drip and drab, they feed them the information slowly, leave them in a state of absolute confusion, and then the information they just circulate some kind of way, someone they believe them, someone they don't believe them. It was deliberate, the way we will put that information out there to keep them occupied, to focus their attention on what we want them to talk about. So for 2022, when I say this, so now we did set the agenda on social media. Now we did set the agenda of what will be discussed on social media. Now we do that. So for 2016 to 2000 and even 2020, they will get control of social media. That is the truth. Okay, now look at the situation today. Now, why that it be vitally important for we to understand the impact where we make and for we to understand how much we don't come, how much we do win. Now, why that I tell una Mark Barretta will don't wipe your account, Tapang Ivo wipe him, Eric Tato wipe him, even Amber Alphabet TV wipe him, Ayabacho will wipe him. Now, if you look at their pages, the way they get them on social media today, none of them, if it compare to which way we the black legs, and then we don't multiply ourselves. We don't even go take some of the people the way they be being ambassador propagandists. If you go back for 2018, Yannick Sikot was an ambassador propagandist. You get Scam and Congo was ambassador. Periphery Nick Santos, Dr. This, Dr. That was ambassador propagandist on social media. And then you get the other one, Sofoncha, the same. But for 2022, you see all these names that will come up for column, now na black legs. You see how the dynamic don't change, and then not only have we wiped out the amber terrorist presence on social media, but we don't multiply our own black legs on social media. We don't assemble with our black legs on social media. Okay? in a way for 2018, time we countryman just start. The only person where me have been know where it get presence on Facebook and where it be somehow forceful and where people they be listen to it. Now Agent Franklin Jume and Susie Sparks. I don't remember any other person. Maybe they were. Don't get me wrong. Maybe there were other people doing other things, but those are the ones that I met, that I know. But come fast forward today. When I say even countryman itself, now we don't multiply ourselves. We'll get now, even you get Beltus at her song. Even this page where they live on a Beltus page is not even mine. You get Oka Nasri Clovis is doing fantastically well. They don't create their own page, they do their own thing, and it go viral. Even better than what me I be fit even doing, which is fantastic to say, because it just shows you how much you feel born picking and then that picking can grow past you. Fantastic. That is exactly what I like to say and I like to see. Now, you get other people, them, other platforms that we don't create them, other people that are doing other things, them, we don't assemble ourselves, we would lecture each other, coach each other, mentor each other, show each other how to do small things, them like sharing, how to make a post go viral by posting public, how to do all these kinds of small tricks that we will learn them for Facebook, then we'll teach each other, and then we don't match fire with our black legism. Like I tell you, it is a chuku process. We not get with no magic button or nuclear weapon where we go press and bam, it destroy ambassador terrorism. A lie. Now one chuku, one day at a time. And like I be explaining for some long audio, I be explaining for say, imagine say we black legs, we 1,000. All our weapon where we get up now one chuku. But we'll get a big giant animal, a mammoth, an elephant where we need for bring them down. Imagine say if one day all we 1,000 we go choke that elephant with a small needle, choke him 1,000. It means that elephant get 1,000 chuku for a kanda one time for one day, and then we run, we go back. The next day all we 1,000 again can't choke him again, then run go we. And then the next day we 1,000 will bring the chuku again, just needle, can't choke the elephant, then run we. And then before I see at the end of 1 year, now 360 something thousand chuku the way we don't choke the elephant. When I understand, that is what we call strategy of Operation Chuku. We not get with Operation Nuclear Weapon, Operation no. We'll get with Naweti individually one chuku. Maybe you're one chuku today now for share this live broadcast. My one chuku today now for prepare for this live broadcast and can deliver them to una. You are on live, your own one chuku now for post. That picture of the Amber terrorists where we don't kill them for Muyan. Some other person on chuku now say he don't find information about some other Amber terrorists, it's sunshine them. For one day you do just one thing where it will bring down ambassador terrorism. Of course, we will not only get chuku, but we'll get gone. So now, but then again, even if all we get now only small chuku, imagine the impact, imagine the destruction where we go cause them to that beast. When all we will work together and day in, day out, we'll be relentless and will continue to do exactly that. And then before we know 3 years, 4 years down the line, this is the result. We destroy ambassador terrorism. They don't get no presence on social media anymore. The communication networks be down. And to the extent where all those their propaganda and their threats where they be leveled against people like myself, Dr. Munzu, Padia Sanga, Susie Sparks, Agent Franklin Jume, and the rest, all of that nonsense, it don't stop. Because they don't say and say this. So first of all, it be counterproductive. Because the more they threaten we, the more they give we ammunition, and the more they encourage we for continue to do what we do. The more they threaten we, the more we make friends. That is it, my contribution. So now, I want to answer one particular person where it talks something. Now this kind of lies, and I will show you comments on the screen for now. It accuse me say a lie. It talks say it says stop lying Igwe, and then the next comment we leave and it talks about it. Who's the guy there? He named na Sancho Ezekiel from Binui on Aweti. He say Ahidjo unilaterally dismantled it. That is a fantastic fat lie where Anglophones they like to tell themselves. You cannot change the law of a country by one person. Not even in the United Kingdom, which is the last remaining great kingdom in the world. Where we are just yesterday, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, passed on a few days ago. The Queen of England, despite being the Queen of England and the head of state to many other countries, about 14 other countries, okay, also, it also led the whole of the United Kingdom, which include the Kingdom of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. Okay, the Queen of England, or now the King Charles III of England, cannot just unilaterally change the law in this country. because sovereignty belongs to the people. The people change the laws in every country in the world, not one person. Now, make I explain to una where una not understand. Take, for example, the United States of America. Okay? Now, a federation. When I go yesterday, so President Joe Biden, he don't sign this into law. When I go yesterday, President Donald Trump, he don't sign this into law. Or President Barack Obama, don't sign this into law. Ma tell una where to sign. It is signed na a bill where it be voted in Parliament or in America, which they call and say the Senate. In America, na federation, they get 50 states in the United States of America. The country, when a one country, they call and say the United States of America. But now within that one country, they get 50 states. For example, California, New York, New Jersey, Minnesota, Iowa, and the rest, Kentucky, una get the point. All of those are just states within the United States of America. Now, each state, they elect 2 senators, send them to the United States Senate. And then now each constituency, they elect 1 member of the House of Representatives, is send them to the United States Congress in the lower house or the House of Representatives. Now, a bill can be initiated in the Senate or it can be initiated in the lower house in the House of Representatives. Now, when that bill it be initiated, they go write the bill, formulate them in the form of which way would be a law. They call them, at that time, they call them, say, a bill. And then that bill, it will be debated. All members of the, assume, say, the bill, it originate from the House of Representatives. All members, they will get opportunity for examine the bill, and then they will get opportunity for debate the bill, and then they will get opportunity for vote on the bill. Now, when they vote on the bill, if a majority of the members of the House of Representatives, they accept the bill, then the bill, it don't pass in the House. Now the bill, it will be sent to the Senate, exactly word for word as it was voted. It means, say, if you change is, it means, say, if you go for the bill, some word be there for the way they say the, and then you change and put is, it means, say, the whole bill be cancelled. Because you don't change, you don't edit the bill. Because it must be exactly what way they be voted, without the change of a single word. If some word be there for them, even as, say, some person be right for some place, say a bill, for example, then you go change and write now, the bill, wrong. The whole bill has to be voted again. If you change one word, the whole bill has to go back in the House for them to vote it again. Okay? Now, that bill, when I don't vote him, it then goes on to the Senate. The Senate now, they go vote on that identical bill. Sometimes they fit change some other things in the bill for make them possible to make the bill pass. But if they change anything in that bill, it means that bill must go back to the House of Representatives, to be voted on again. Now, if no change it happened in the bill, then the bill, it go to the Senate, and the Senate, it vote on the bill. Obviously, they go, all members of the Senate, they go read the bill. They go get opportunity for examine the bill. They go also get opportunity for debate the bill. And then after the debate, they go ask questions to the people that they sponsor the bill. The people that go answer those questions. After that debate, then now they go come to a voting session. For I just give you an American example because it's easy, and because when I overlike America, when I always use America as an examples them. So make I explain them for now. So like I tell you, America get 50 states, and each state it is sent 2 senators. So do the mathematics now. 100 senators they did for America. Now, all where you need now 51 senators for vote out of 100, where it give you more than 50%, depending on the bill. Now, if 51 senators they vote for the bill, then the bill don't pass. Now, for American system, if you get 50 senators they vote, it means then half and half. Now, who comes in? The Vice President of the United States, who is elected. At the moment, the Vice President is Kamala Harris. About 6-7 years ago, the Vice President was Joe Biden, who is currently the President. Now, if the vote, it be 50-50, where it means say they get an impasse, So they know whether the vote never passed and it never failed. So now the vice president can cast a tiebreaker vote. Whichever side the vice president vote for, it will carry the vote. I hope so that one makes sense. Now, when the House it don't vote, the Senate it don't vote on exactly the same bill, the bill it don't pass. And then that bill now like I be telling you, the House of Representatives and the Senate, that's what you call the legislative branch, because they legislate. Okay? They legislate. Okay? Now the legislative branch, and the legislative branch, they make the laws of the country. Now the only organ in the whole world, in every country, my right hand for the way it go be bright enough, man make it thick fine. Okay, now then they write the law of the country. Now then they make the laws of the country, that they get the powers to make the laws of the country. The legislative. It means the House of Representatives, or when a Parliament, Senate, those two arms, now the legislative branch, now then they make the law of the country. Now, once they don't vote on the law, and they don't pass and they don't agree, that bill now, it never even become law yet. It is not law. It is just a bill that has been voted on. Okay? Now, the bill now, it goes to the executive branch. And the executive branch, now the head of state. Once the Senate and the House of Representatives, they don't vote on the bill now, they then pass them on to the president. And then the president signs it and it becomes law. Una don't hear no? But for Cameroon now, because of this, ignorance. And for being ignorant about a particular thing is not necessarily an insult. Because when it comes to rocket science, I am ignorant. When it comes to brain surgery, I am ignorant. When it comes to gynecology, I am ignorant. Because I don't know anything about rocket science, gynecology, or brain surgery. I'm ignorant. Okay? But when it comes to ambassador terrorism, I get a PhD. Me and Okanas Clovis. We now understand. So now, when we be ignorant about the law and are ignorant about how your country works, that's why you get this misconception. You see, you hear say President Amadou Ahidjo don't sign the law for cancel federation. You carry on for your head. Say no, Amadou Ahidjo he won. If go sign them. What nonsense! What level of stupidity and ignorance be this? It's ignorance. Now the lower house, now for Cameroonian situation, for dismantle the federal constitution, now the people of Cameroon who voted on the 20th of May 1972, they voted. Based on that election, and Amadou Ahidjo talks that if the people vote against, and then nothing no go happen, no person no go change the federal system as it be there. But because the people voted to dismantle the federal system, then now the bill was drafted and it was presented to the federal constitution, to the federal house. I mean to say to the federal house of assembly. The federal house of assembly voted in favor of the law. The same bill, okay, which should have been also presented to the West Cameroon House and the East Cameroon House, was not, because they decided not to do that. They should have done that. Okay? But the fact is that the Federal Assembly, which constituted Anglophones, West Cameroon senators and West Cameroon members of parliament, voted for the bill. East Cameroon members of parliament also voted for the bill. When that bill was voted and passed, that is when it landed on the president's table. All where the president, if he get to do now and say, wait, if he reject the bill, if he decide, he deny for sign the bill, for make it become law, or if he agree. If he agree, he sign them into law. That's it. Okay? If he agree, he sign them into law. Now, make I go back small. Ma explain for now. I don't say someone will ask me, but countryman, what if the bill is land for president the table now and president is deny for sign them into law? that there is also a provision for that in the American system. I know because I studied the American system. I don't know about Cameroon system, but I study the American system. Now, make I explain for now. Which way go happen if the president is denied for sign a bill into law? Make we assume, say, the bill, it don't be debated in the House of Parliament and the bill, it don't pass. Okay? Now, the bill be sent to the Senate. The senators, they debate on, they vote on, and the bill, it pass. Now, the bill, it go, my talk say for the Senate, the bill, they be vote na 55 out of the 100 senators. The bill don't pass because as long as the majority. Now it go for president deny it for sign am. Okay? If president deny it for sign am, there is another way in the US Constitution to make that bill become law without the president's signature. All way they need for do, now for bring the bill back into the Senate. And when the bill don't reach for the Senate, all way they need now, what they call and say a super majority. Super majority in the US Senate now 60%. If I'm not mistaken, quote me. Well, I would double do my risk. I don't know whether now 60% or now 70%. I'm sure now 60%. So for as long as more than 60% of the senators they vote for a bill, it don't matter whether the president sign them or not, it becomes law. I hope so that one be clear. For as long as they get a super majority, they accept the bill in the Senate, not only the Senate, it not involve at this time now, it not involve the House of Representatives. We talk now only the Senate, when now 100 senators the day for day. Now the American system that. So now, if the president is denying for sign that bill into law, all where the senators, they only need for do now, say they recall the bill back into the Senate, and then they re-vote on that bill. And if they succeed, forget a supermajority, it becomes law. They don't need president for sign them. So yes, you can actually make law in the country without the president's signature at all. Maybe we understand that one. I don't know the specificities for Cameroon, but that is what happens in the United States of America, one of the biggest federation way there in the world. So now, sorry, sir, I digress. Now just say, we enter some kind of lesson for educate people the way they ask questions. Like I be talk, we will go back down and I go continue for play for una the videos then from Dr. Simon Munzu. But before I continue, I want to make una listen to which way Molali Tumbe it be talk. This one now a few years, about 5 years or so after the command, they go for United Nations in 1990 mid-90s. This one now around 2010, Molali Tumbe, he talk for this journalist. He explain one or two things. When I listen carefully.
In these matters, it will require international diplomacy. I think Southern Cameroons are on the right track now that their matter has entered the UN circle. And having entered the UN circle, there is no need for warfare. It's to pursue it logically. And I am confident in my own mind.
So as it talks, it don't enter in the UN circle. Which way mean I say now that thing where they be go do for New York, where they say they go see the Secretary General of the United Nations. Nothing came out of it till today, as Dr. Simon Munzu tell now till today. They never hear nothing. I make una no forget it, so it don't be 28 or so years. Since then, about 27 or so. Okay? Since then, we don't get about 3 or 4 different Secretary Generals of the United Nations. At that time, when they would go from 1994, I think Butus, or something like that. It be been a Secretary General at the United Nations. I think he was from Egypt. Since then we'll get Ban Ki-moon, we'll get Kofi Annan, we'll get Ban Ki-moon, and then we'll get, I don't even know the Antonio Guterres, way been a Secretary General for the United Nations. Okay? We don't get many Secretary Generals of the United Nations since then. Okay? No one cares about the Anglophone madness. So now Molali Tumbe, at that time, of course, he was, they actually believe in their own madness. They actually believe. So that talk where they go talk to for Secretary General for New York, it will yield results. They believed it. They believed in that madness. You understand? And he said there is no need for warfare. This is 2010. Now for tell una, now for give una a snapshot of the kind of discussions where these people them for SCNC, they will get them. They were preparing for war. Hear the words, and I'll explain more. When I listen to what we talk again.
Talk to the international community in the capital of the world as it is, so that the voice of this crying child of southern Cameroon can be heard in the four corners of the world.
You say that at the Banjul Commission.
So now, he talk about talking to the international community. I will come play for now a video or a part of the interview now up to 12 minutes long where Dr. Simon Munzu ego elaborate and explain about the United Nations and some processes and some of those things that make una understand properly. If I need, I will stop the Dr. Simon Munzu halfway for analyze one or two things and for give my own opinions and insight and also my reactions. And then if need be, I will come back and play for another video just like Molali to be on I don't play for help when I understand one or two things. And now when I pay attention, when I listen, I day here prepared, I get my pen and I get a small piece of paper with which na recito with which I go write down the take one or two notes then for which way Dr. Simon Munzu they talk. If I have anything else for add, I go add them. So I will jot notes when I listen.
Do you understand? You are out there and the Federalist movement that you are heading. Do you understand the position of the United Nations since the commencement of this crisis? The United States also has issued, has made some resolutions at the level of Congress and Senate. The EU Parliament has done the same, but practically speaking, we have not seen a clear move, a direction that shows that the UN is coming in anytime soon.
Well, first of all, Mr. Kum, when you mention the U.S. and countries like it, and mention the UN in one breath, on a matter like this, and try to suggest that there may be a difference in opinion, in approach between those countries and the UN, then you don't understand how the UN functions. And the UN, after all,
just for make una understand something, Dr. Simon Munzu, he be work with the United. He don't work in the United Nations, okay? He don't work with the United Nations for several years. So it talk based on experience and based on his personal understanding how the United Nations functions. So no person this will get profile, okay? Dr. Simon Munzu get profile. Now a professional, now an actual doctorate. Now person where he don't work in Cameroon, he be work for help in the drafting of the 1996 Constitution in Cameroon. He don't work for United Nations. Now person will get profile. Now person this way is supposed to talk Anglophones they listen. Not the shit, no white blast like Chris Anu, Ayabacho Lucas, Tapang Evo Eric Tato, and all of those non-entities. Dr. Simon Munzu get profile. He don't work with the UN. And then maybe Ayuk Tabe get some small profile like 3%. Okay, maybe 3.2% of where Dr. Simon Munzu get them, because at least Ayuk Tabe be work inside Cameroon, he be handle some level of responsibilities, he be work for some office where Cameroonians they fit assessee and they fit even call a leader. Not the non-entities like Ayabacho, Tapang, Sako and the rest. Chris Anu. When I listen.
Let me put it this way. When you talk about the UN, you have to distinguish between organs of the UN that bring together member states and organs of the UN that constitute the civil service of the United Nations, which does the will of the organs made up of member states. The organs made up of member states are the General Assembly and the Security Council, limiting myself to those two. I don't want to go into the Economic and Social Council and all the rest, but just taking those two, the General Assembly and the Security Council. Okay, the Secretary General is formally the Chief Administrative Officer of the UN. In other words, the head of the UN Civil Service, which services the Security Council, the General Assembly, and other organs of the UN. So, before the Secretary General takes a stand on an issue of this kind, he is obviously going to consult as widely as possible with member states, especially those in the Security Council.
You hear what he talk now? He said before the United Nations it take a decision of this kind, obviously they have to consult with the member states. So the Secretary General at the United Nations is only working for the member states. And who are the member states? Cameroon is one, Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, the United Kingdom, France, Russia. They are member states of the United Nations. So the Secretary General is not just going to take a unilateral decision because he be SG. He must consult the member states, especially the member states who are directly affected by any decision where the Secretary General is taken. Cameroon is a member state. So-called Southern Cameroon has never been a member state of the United Nations. Never. Not one time, not even by mistake. You are not a member state. Cameroon is a member state. Then you think say SG will go make a decision about Cameroon without first consulting Cameroon? How does that even work? It continue.
Security, those who are permanent members, especially those in the Security Council, and especially among those in the security, those who are permanent members with the power of veto. You know, I've tried, when this crisis began, as early as the 21st or 22nd of July 2017, in a conference that I attended in Atlanta, convened by a group of Cameroonians, in which I shared the platform with my good friend and colleague, Professor Carlson Anyangwe, who, as we know, is in the separatist arena, if you like, and Barrister Bonga, who, at least in that 2017, was also, I don't know where he is now, where he stands now, but he was, ardently separatist at the time. I told them, let's not think that the solution to this problem is going to come from outside. Not from the United Nations, not from the AU, not from Washington, not from Paris, not from London. We Cameroonians have to get our acts together, come up with a blueprint of what we want. If we all rally around it, then we can use that to take towards the UN and say, this is what we, the Cameroonian people, want. Or if you like, we, the Southern Cameroonians, want on this particular issue. And when they see that what we are proposing is reasonable and something that they can support, then they will throw their weight behind it. They are not going to be the ones to come and define the solution for us. And I said at that conference that from that perspective, separation is out of the question.
Thank you.
Because for you to have separation and independence, there are only two pathways. One is diplomatic. In other words, you convince the countries of the world and the UN to support you. But I reminded my compatriots at that conference that it is through the UN that under the auspices of the UN that our people voted on the 11th of February to achieve independence by joining the Republic. It is under the auspices of the UN that the post-reunification, the post-plebiscite conferences were held leading up to October 1st, 1961. And all this while, the UN has taken cognizance of the fact that since 1st of October 1961, the former British administered UN Trust Territory of Southern Cameroons ceased to have that status. And by the way, the trusteeship agreement between United Nations and the United Kingdom over this territory that was signed in 1946 or 1947 ended. That's an agreement between the UK and the UN for the administration of SC, Southern Cameroons. It's ended. Once Southern Cameroons opted to achieve independence by joining La République. Ended. So, who in the international community are you going to convince that the work of decolonizing Southern Cameroons was not completed? Who? So I argued that based on that, it is futile to say that you are going to pursue independence by diplomacy. And when Julius Ayuk-Tabe and others started flying around here, acting like head of state already, you see him arrive at the airport in Washington or New York with a constellation of bodyguards and drivers and all of that to say diplomatic offensive. I just laughed. Of course, it's comedy. I laughed. It was a show. He wasn't going to lead anywhere. Exactly. You know? So that part of independence by diplomacy, I argued, and I still argue, was a no-go. It wouldn't lead anywhere. Nowhere. Therefore, if you insist that you have to get independence, know that because that involves breaking up an existing country called Cameroon, the rest of Cameroon is not going to allow you to go to walk out just like that. You come and say, oh, okay, look, after you guys have been trying to assimilate us, we're tired of this, we're walking out. They wouldn't let you go. Of course not. You know, they will resist, and if they resist, then remember, know then that independence can only be by war. By war. But if you elect that path, then remember that war has its consequences. And I'm talking as someone who, in my UN career, worked in many conflicts and post-conflict countries. I saw it with my own eyes. Thank you. What devastation war can cause. And I would have preferred to save my own country and every part of it such an experience. And that's what I tried to do from 2017. But they wouldn't listen. And they took us now into this adventure. Once again on the theory of anger, lies, and violence. Anger, lies. See where we are. The reality is that the forces of the Cameroon, the forces of the government of Cameroon are not going to be beaten by what Choyaba and the others are trying to do. People say to me, oh, Dr. Munzu, don't speak like that. I mean, how can you be so sure? I said, look, listen, I have seen these things. I know the posture of a guerrilla force that can defeat the forces of the regular forces of a nation. It's not because you bring down 2 or 3 soldiers here, 4 there, whether it's through a so-called IED exploding or by whatever that means, that you think that that is going to lead to your defeating the national army to the point where they sue for peace and agree that you leave, that you split the country. Oh no. Oh no. Let's not fool ourselves. Of course. The day that it happens, I hope I should be alive when it happens. I will applaud. I will applaud for Choyaba. I will applaud for I will clap for Akwanga. I will clap for Chris Anu or whoever else is leading their military stuff on the ground.
It's nonsense.
But from what I know, from my experience elsewhere, it's not going to happen. And yet, see how much devastation it is causing.
Devastation.
Okay, that's what I was talking about in that. So either way, independence is not coming. Therefore, what we Southern Cameroonians especially, but also Cameroonians as a whole, because the good thing that has happened since 2016 is that increasingly Francophones have come to understand the true nature of the character of our people. So this is a moment where without anger, without lies, without violence, we, the people of Southern Cameroon, but ultimately the people of Cameroon, should examine this matter, throw our weight behind an analysis that leads us a common position, and pursue that position.
Nice.
And when we pursue that position with determination, yes, it will move one day. And the international community will find something grown, woven, distilled by Cameroonians.
By Cameroonians.
That they then support.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, thank you plenty my contributor for exercising that patience and for listening right to the end of that video. Now, my favorite clip that for everything where Dr. Munzu talked for that interview, 12 minutes long. He articulates some very important points of the day. And I don't watch that his speech where he began to those people, I think he talks for Atlanta, time we go for 2016 or 2017 or then. That way they will still talk about this nonsense for carry guns and everything else. He explained for them, say this, so there are only two ways. If we now follow the diplomatic way, first of all, separation is out of the question because not a single country on the international scene will support una. Say make una break away from another country. That's one. So when una talk, when I follow diplomatic, whatever, I even talk. Call Yuktabe, say Tawa Yuktabe will go to act that film the way they will act for America. For Bambuzu, that was equivalent to Ambazonia terrorists. They are holding of UN flag on the Mungo. That's what Foncha and these other people, what's the name, Molali Tumbe, they do for mid-90s. Where they will hold that flag, say they don't cross the Mungo, they come up for United Nations, and their case they for United Nations decolonization and all of that nonsense. That was a fantastic fat lie. Blatant lie. Where they just can't lie una. The same thing where Ayuk Tabe they copy him. Say are there for America. They get bodyguard. Hire limousine. They work at the parade. They talk how they go for United Nations. At least Dr. Munzu them and Molali Tumbe them and John Go Foncha they actually go in the United Nations. And remember, these people they get profile. Muna and Foncha they get profile. Foncha be been a former prime minister of Cameroon. So he get profile. He be fit call someone at the United Nations, say I need an audience. They go grant an audience because he go explain to them your profile. They go ask them who is this calling. He say it's John Go Foncha, the former prime minister of Cameroon. Cameroon a member state. Then they will say okay, we will grant you an audience. Now, maybe we talk about Ayuk Tabe or Sako Ekome or Chris Anu. Imagine say pick a phone, call Secretary General for United Nations. He go talk say wait, I am what? President of Ambazonia. I request an audience. I am President of Amazonia. Can you imagine? You think say if President Paul Biya he want to see Secretary General of the United Nations, he go ask. He go ask. He is there to serve us. Cameroon is a member state of the United Nations. Cameroon get a permanent member where represent we at the United Nations. We have a seat at the United Nations. All where that member need for do, now pick a phone, ring the Secretary General, tell the Secretary General that the representative of Cameroon needs your attention for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour or whatever. I am coming to your office to see you. Secretary General will say, okay, I'm waiting for you. Because he is a member state. But some shit, no white blacks, non-entities, the way they don't even come out from a member state and they are not representing any country or any organization like Ayuk Tabe, Sako, Chris Anugu. How they could do pass? Say they want to go speak to Secretary General of the United Nations. How? Now which magic? Now which juju? Now, make I not digress too far. Dr. Simon Munzu explained for them. If we not go diplomatic way, we not go feel convince any person on the international scene for support. So separation is out of the question. All we wanna feel do now, say we wanna gather support for change Cameroon as one and indivisible country from the international scene. But we not go ever get separation. Two, the only other option, if we insist, say we one must separate, we one must get independence, then the only other option is to do it by force. And Cameroon government is not just going to lie down, or some of us who are Anglophone Cameroonians but do not want to belong to una Ambazonia, we're not just going to lie down and let you trample all over us and let your will be done. No, we are going to fight back. And in the course of that fighting back, what happens? War. And war has consequences. So, now what we talk say, they deny for listen to ye because of their anger, lies, and violence. Now the three words that I use for describe these amber fools. As a matter of fact, some other part there where he talk about the international community where I want make Dr. Simon Munzu talk I want make it repeat them again. And then now I go can play towards the end of the video. I want make it repeat some other sentence. Then now I go bring in 2 or 3 other people who can articulate exactly the same point for make una understand. For make Dr. Simon Munzu a point, make it hit home. For make una understand when he talks, say, they don't advise this Shumbu den tire. They don't give them the reality tire. Anglophones, they don't always want for carry guns for challenge Cameroon government. They have always wanted it. Now, why that way when Anglophones for 2022 they started talk this nonsense about how Pobia this. So one they talk say, but countryman, Pobia be no, he be no say this thing will happen. Why you know dialogue? Why they not prevent them? There was nothing anyone could have done. Anglophones, I don't explain this for now. They be like that picking way in the send hand for touch fire. You knock a hand, it send them that's all. You knock a hand, it's also send a hand, it won't touch that fire. Now so Anglophones they be. So after a while, you let the child touch the fire. Because that's the only way that we go learn. Now, Dr. Simon Munzu, I will wind them forward.
Do you understand?
Is formally the...
Bear with
Do
me.
you understand?
I told them, let's not think that the solution to this problem is going to come from outside.
Una yeah.
Not from the United Nations, not from the AU, not from Washington, not from Paris, not from London. We Cameroonians have to get our acts together, come up with a blueprint of what we want. If we're all rally around it, then we can use that to take towards the UN and say, this is what we, the Cameroonian people, want. Or if you like, we, the Southern Cameroonians, want on this particular issue.
When I hear what we talk now, he say the solution is not going to come from the United Nations. It's not going to come from the AU or the EU. Now, only Cameroonians, they get the solution to this. Now what did I be tell them? Now, my play for Una. Una listen very carefully. Another person where it be tell this Amba Shumbu terrorists them exactly the same thing. When I listen,
I get extremely frustrated when I hear from the Cameroonian community that they are waiting for the international community to solve the problem. And I keep telling people the brutal truth is that the international community is not going to solve the problem.
Well, I guess the message is now settling down amongst most Ambazonians because we see what is going on in Ukraine.
So when I don't hear that one at Tibo Nagi, it tell Chris Anu just last year or now this year. He say in plain, simple English, it not be complicated. The international community is not going to solve this problem. Now, wait this way, people like Dr. Simon Munzu, they've done to tell these idiots. Since 2016, they also go carry, they say, United Nations. Now, not just that one. I want to show now another person where it be tell Chris Anu exactly what the way Dr. Simon Munzu and Tibor Nagy tell you. Wanna listen?
Opportunity. Won't you think that it should be the place of the international community to say, okay, some Cameroonians, they say they want independence, and some say they want an indivisible country. Why not say, let's give them a referendum, let them decide? How do you think about that, sir?
In general, this is a very good idea, but as you said, if you can't vote, it's not an option at this point. So we are not, theoretically, you're right, but in reality, we have to come to peace in the first place and then start a constitutional process in Cameroon or something like that. I mean, this is not a solution which comes from outside. This is the Cameroonian people have to decide. And
when I hear what we talk, it said this is not a solution that comes from outside. This is for the Cameroonian people to decide. I repeat them.
The local people have to decide how they want to live and what constitution they want to have. And should have African solutions.
Now listen.
Yeah, but as you said, if you can't vote, it's not an option at this point. So we are not, theoretically, you're right, but in reality, we have to come to peace in the first place and then start a constitutional process in Cameroon or something like that. I mean, this is not a solution which comes from outside. This is the Cameroonian people have to decide, and the local people have to decide how they want to live and what constitution they want to have in the future. So, and there's a saying, African problems should have African solutions. And sometimes I think, what is the role?
When I hear African problems should have African solutions. This is not a problem for the international community. This is for the Cameroonian people to decide. The person will be the talk so now Dr. Christoph Hoffmann, when a member of parliament for Germany. So we don't get Dr. Simon Munzu, when a Cameroonian statesman, Anglophone, he tell them they no agree here. Tibor Nagy, when an American diplomat, he tell them exactly the same thing. They no agree here. German member of parliament, Dr. Hoffmann Christoph, he tell them the same thing. This is not a problem for the international community. This is for the people, the Cameroonian people, to decide. They don't agree here. When I listen to another one, this one now Rebecca Tinsley. When I listen.
Their colonial role. So believe me, I am very aware of the role. However, may I say that what I understand about British politicians is that they do not care about your history. They're not interested. They don't want to hear people from Amazonia talking about what happened in 1960 and 1961. They're not interested.
Why do you think they're not interested?
I know they're not interested because I'm British and I mix with politicians all the time.
Right. Do you see any motivation, any particular motivation behind their action?
No, it is very important that you hear what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
They are not interested in your history. They are not interested in listening to people from your country getting very angry. And every time that one of your politicians gets extremely angry with the British, it is self-defeating. You are not going to win their sympathy. What you need to do is talk about today and the future, because they are simply not interested. You are wasting your breath if you talk about the history of 1961, because they don't want to know. It embarrasses them.
Is this because they were part of it and they failed in that assignment? Could that be the reason?
It's also, yes, part of the reason, but also the British are not interested in their colonial history because it is embarrassing to them.
Wow, that is quite revealing. That is quite very, very revealing. Now, the French seem to be very, very engaged with their.
So when I don't hear now British woman that now a British journalist and philanthropist where it be concerned about the Anglophone crisis and it don't write articles about the Anglophone crisis. Chris Ano bring it on for a live program And the woman explains something for you. Chris, I do not agree here. The woman tell you, say, it is very important that you listen to what I am trying to say. Because Chris, I do not agree. They know one year because of their anger, their lies and violence. Now all that way they know the result. I go kill you. I go carry this. I go carry that. That's all they know. Illiteracy, my country people then. So Chris Anu they tell you, they ask you, they tell you, say, listen, I know this, the British are not interested. I know this because I am British. Where? The woman tell you, I am British. I know this because I am British and I mingle with politicians all the time. And I am telling you that they are not interested in your history. They start, they yell at them, shout at them about 1961 or whatever, they switch off. When I go Americano, when I go for New York, go talk to Secretary General, whatever nonsense. Almost 30 years later, bing, not even mosquito, no creek, nothing. No tiny little noise, no man, no make noise. And after all of this, President Paul Biya na a seasoned, well-experienced international diplomat. He understands international systems and how the world works. He know all of these things then. So when they go to make noise, they bark, they make for Facebook and everything else, it does not move anyone. Those of us who know, now just say some of us, we understand. Say why people they be too easily manipulated because they be ignorant about how the world works. Now why that way some of we can't try to explain those things for una, simplify them, give una in bite size so that make una fit digest them, make una fit understand. So that when some person can kill you for your house for munya or na for bui or na for usa, at least you understand why. Now because of all these lies, where Anglophones they deliberately go out there for go lie to their own fellow country people, then to Anglophones, Anglophone versus Anglophone lies. As Dr. Simon Munzu call him, he said their anger, lies, and violence. So when I don't hear Dr. Simon Munzu tell them that the solution is not going to come from the international community. It's not. Now Cameroonians get to decide. We will decide on a solution and then we'll lobby the international community for support that solution. But for talks when I want to go for war, not a single person on the international community will support them. Now Dr. Simon Munzu tell them, they don't agree here. Dr. Hoffman don't tell them it is for the people of Cameroon to decide what form of government they want to have. It is not for the international community. They don't agree here. Rebecca Tinsley don't tell them exactly the same thing. They don't agree here. I remember the other time, this other journalist, you know the power with big afro, Eric Chinje, he also get a live broadcast with Chris Anu. Eric Chinje tell exactly the same thing for Chris Anu. It is not the international community's problem. It is our problem. We are either going to resolve it or continue to suffer. These people, they lack the ability to learn. They are naturally idiots. Now, why do I call them, say, wonderfully international idiots? Now, I want to go back for this 12-minute clip for Dr. Simon Munzu. Play the very last ending of the video. I want to hear something will be critical. I think that minute number 8. Una bear with me.
Particular issue. If you insist that you have to get independence, know that because that involves breaking up an existing country called Cameroon, the rest of Cameroon is not going to allow you to go to walk out just like that. You come and say, oh, okay, look, after you guys have been trying to assimilate us, we're tired of this, we're walking out. They wouldn't let you go. You know, they will resist, and if they resist, then remember, know that independence can only be by war. But if you elect that path, then remember that war has its consequences. And I'm talking as someone who, in my UN career, worked in many conflicts and post-conflict countries. I saw it with my own eyes. What devastation war can cause. And I would have preferred to save my own country and every part of it such an experience. And that's what I tried to do from 2017.
So it talk about devastation, but we will come to that. But the way to our make una pay attention to now, what we talk say if you elect that path for go to war, understand, say it get consequences. But then before that, it talks about it. If una insist say when I one for must separate, then understand say the only other way now war, because other Cameroonians will not just let you go. Now, so for any person, for this 2022, for that, now what did I tell when I say Anglophones, they've been a bad belly people. For any person, for can't talk say, now Pobia declare war. When we Anglophones, they declare separation, that was an act of war, and I always come prepared. I come in with my evidence. So now when I listen to Sako Ekome, it will make the point for we. Sako Ekome, it will explain for when I say, just by the fact say, they declare separation, it was a declaration of war. Now Anglophone Cameroonians, they declare war against Cameroon. When I listen,
it was clear that the day we proclaimed our restoration, it was tantamount to a declaration of war to the other side.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you declare the restoration or the separation or whatever from another country to the others, to the occupier, is tantamount to a declaration of war.
Nasako Ekome, Amba terrorist president, Eddie talk. Who said the Anglophones, where they always claim Senapobia declare war on them?
Simple. And all Anglophones understand this. They understood this on the very first day. When you declare, say you is separate from a sovereign state, it is tantamount to a declaration of war. There is no two ways about it. In every country in the world, it's not just Cameroon. I don't say when I know say Pobia na Pope. I know you know that, but trust me, even Pope, you know, allow una for that interview with that German parliamentarian Christoph Hoffmann. If you get with Chris Anu, he tell Chris Anu for this say, if he tell and say Germany is a federation, and if a part of Germany also decide today that they want to separate, there will be war in Germany. He tell you. Because the rest of the country is not just going to allow an arm or a leg or the neck or the ankle of the country to just cut off like that. No, they will fight to keep that unit, that country united. They will fight. When I want to give you examples, how long do we have? We'll go next door to Nigeria. Now 1967, the eastern part of Nigeria, the Igbos, they say they don't separate from Nigeria, call their own country, they say Biafra. And on the day where they declare separation, they had 100% control of the territory. They will get an army, they will get support from France, Czechoslovakia, China, and a bunch of other countries. They had support on the international scene. They had an army. They controlled 100% of the territory on the day they declared separation. What did Nigeria do? Lie low, accept it when I decrease. Nigeria launched war. Yes. 2.5 years later, more than 1 million people dead. Ojukwu, when I be the lead the Nigerian separation for Biafra, Biafran separation from Nigeria, Ojukwu run. He surrender. 2.5 years. By that 2.5 years, Nigeria don't overtake and claim back the territories the way they will claim and say this on a part of Biafra. They say they separate with them. Nigeria take over the country back. By Kum. They don't go dialogue or negotiate with Ojukwu, even though Ojukwu be being a serving member of the Nigerian armed forces. They don't go dialogue with it. They carry better Kum enter for that territory where they call and say Biafra. They enter with Kum. That's what happens when you decide. So Chris Anu, Sako Ekome, Eric Tato, Tapang Ivo, Ayabacho Lucas, Ayuk Tabe, all of these non-entities, they knew what they were doing. When they talk about restoration or declare, they don't declare our restoration, they don't declare their independence. They knew 100% unequivocal. Said they declared war against Cameroon. Now, Dr. Simon Munzu will go on to talk about devastation. Say, he don't witness devastation because he been at the United Nations Special Envoy to Ivory Coast during their civil war. He don't witness devastation because he work with the United Nations for go try to resolve that conflict. He understand what the way war it mean for other people them. And now why do we try everything in the powers for try to stop him? And now this kind of people them, from Simon Munzu, Nijon Frundi, and a bunch of other Anglophone elites like the former Prime Minister, Philemon Yang, all these Anglophone elites, they don't try for decades for calm down the Anglophone agitation, for explain these basic facts to these blockheaded, angry liars and violent idiots. They no agree here. It was time for the Anglophones to taste their own soup where they cook them. It was time to harvest what they planted. It was necessary for Anglophones to start ambassador terrorism. It was fantastically necessary. It's just a shame. Say innocent people, the way they don't even know what way they go on, they end up for lose their lives. It's just a shame. And I could have been one of them. Me. Where I don't even know which direction Amber, she know why they come up with this nonsense, say Amber. Me, I could have been a victim. Now, so to plenty people, them, they don't pass die. We do not even understand why or what did it happen. Because of some idiots, they should not for some side. They engineer this thing for their own personal political ambitions. So as Dr. Simon Munzu, they talk about devastation. He want to prevent the devastation. When I listen to Chris Anu,
it's a waste of time. Let us put our money together and devastate those towns and cities, and let the world media descend upon Ambazonia and tell our story as they do in Syria, as they do in Ukraine, as they did in Iraq, in Afghanistan. That's what we need to do. We need to empower every restoration fighter on the ground. Nothing is, I can't get it. Look at Victoria. I see Biak Bang standing there. That thing should be down, ladies and gentlemen. It should be down. Those of you who cut videos and put out there, cut this one and put out there. I said it. Many of you believe we are in war. We are not in war. We are not in war. I am still waiting to see the kind of devastation that I see in Ukraine, in Victoria. How can we convince anybody there is war when there is no devastation? The structures of Ladapuri, Cameroon are still standing there. The government mansions are still standing there. The DOs, the mayors, the sunrise. It is.
When I don't hear no, as Dr. Simon Munzu, he talks say he no want devastation for your country. He want for prevent your people them for suffer that kind of fate where he don't witness them in other parts of the world. Anglophones like Chris Anu they talk say, I want to see devastation in Kumba. Now Chris Anu talk. And Limbe and Bamenda and Boya. He want to see devastation. He want Una for die. He want properties to be destroyed. That is the fate. That is what Ambazuna terrorists have for you. That's what they not just plan for you. That is what they have been executing on the ground. Out of sheer desperation. And now why that way for today, 2022, I know we hear Amber Fool, he called that word the United Nations. Because all these things, the way people like Dr. Simon Munzu, Pa Achidi Achu, to Nijon Frundi, to Pa Philemon Yang and all the Anglophone elites, they don't tell them, when I stop this nonsense, no person on the international scene no will take una seriously. No person in the international scene they come to una rescue. Say if whether una carry guns una kill yourself, no one will blink. No one will bat an eyelid. Anglophones them out of their sheer frustration, anger, lies. They carry violence, put them for front. And we are where we are today. They knew right from the beginning. And now why that way any person will pass my corner talk about lawyers and teachers that said they will go strike, it was a peaceful demonstration or whatever nonsense. When I go read the banners the way the lawyers, they will put them out their way, Agbobala, they will hold them. Wait till they talk. They say federation or separation. What does separation mean? Separation means make Sako a commentary. What does separation mean? Because someone when I talk that nonsense like say when I know be Siam. Mercy, if the picture there from my phone here, I will show una if the picture there from my screen, from my phone, or Usa Agbobala, I don't know. You know what? As a matter of fact, now bear with me 1 second, and I sure say I'll go fix Siam. A day online somewhere. Mass search them. I'll show you now. When I read, wait away, they be put down for those sign boards them. What have I even? I don't know if it even spells it. Oops, 90s. Okay, I will show you now. Nason Adi. Okay, visit. 90s. Copy image. Show now. Now bear with me 1 second. I'll display them on this screen right here in a second. S6. Now the tablet is paste. Boom. Now bear with me. That's it. When I see now the peaceful demonstration this where they always talk when I say now the peaceful demonstration there when they always talk say, oh, Anglophone lawyers, they were protesting peacefully. These people knew exactly what they were doing. When I read which way they write them, I read them for una. If I know if you read English, I zoom them in small. They say, now for the big banner where they hold and they say, Anglophones should stand up to save the Anglo-Saxon English system of education from complete eradication. Then the one in red, where they write them in red, where to the right and they say, only a two-state federation or outright independence. No, me I write them all. I take this one so that from Barretta, Mark Barretta, the so-called BarrettaNews.com. It say, or outright independence can save the common law and Anglophones. Outright independence. What does outright independence mean? Now we talk say these people were peaceful. Don't that fire any person will pass my corner and talk say that na peaceful demonstration that. Because even some person will be as dull as a fake pastor as Sako Ekome. It tell una say
on them. Who said in day?
When I listen.
It was clear that the day we proclaimed our restoration, it was tantamount to a declaration of war to the other side. That's what happens when you declare the restoration or the separation or whatever from another country to the others, to the occupier, is tantamount to a declaration of war.
Nasako Ekome, terrorist president, Eddie talk. Who said the Anglophones, where they always claim say na Paul Biya declare war on them? Who said in day, make una can listen.
When I hear no be me the talk. Well, na me do that commentary, but na Sako Ekome that it tell una, even the dullest person, it can't tell una say, when you separate from a sovereign state or you declare, say you want to separate from that country, it is tantamount to a declaration of war. I mean, una not tell me, say, the Anglophone lawyers, common law lawyers, they don't know that. Tell me, say, they don't know. The current Bar Association president of the common law, in Nabat Bopikin, na my countryman, Barrister Mba, wait be named Mba, something. If it day, time where they go march with that nonsense, what happen? All of them run. They run. Barrister Mba be then of America. They run. Why did they run? Because they come up for declare war in a country. They light the fire, no, light the matches, put them down, and then Tokyo, they enter Sisongo, run all man for bush. They run them because they know which way they do. In their wildest imagination, they knew right from the beginning, they want to create this conflict inside Cameroon. And then when people they start die, when maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people they don't die, a lot of bloodshed, a lot of anger, and then maybe it will cause Anglophones them for even be more angry with Francophones, and then it will force the hand of the international community. That was their mentality. It will force now the United Nations to take their case, they will notice them, and it will pay attention I will pay attention to them. Now wait that way, that's what they thought was going to happen. A bunch of idiots. Now, I don't already tell when I say any person where you want to watch the full live broadcast, where my media prime Leonard Ebiduan with Dr. Simon Munzu, that is the link on your screens. Just go to my media prime. You see the live broadcast day for day. Watch it. I recommend it. I encourage every single person. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. For this same live broadcast, where when I listen to me right now, when I go for the live broadcast, now in that, now they link that. When I make sure, say when I go watch the full interview, for this I did live right now, no. For the live broadcast where I did live at the talk to Una, for this live broadcast, I don't put the link for Una for follow am. Just click on the link for this live broadcast where they talk to Una. It will take you to that live broadcast. Watch the full interview with Dr. Simon Munzu. Today, I just can't give Una my own opinions, my input, my analysis, and of course my what's the title? I say my reaction to that interview. Dr. Simon Munzu educated me about a few things for that interview a few days ago, and I thank him for that. And I also thank Leonard for a fantastic job where they do for my media prime, for sensitize some of us, educate us, bring these kind of discussions to the fore, so that make our people they not die out of ignorance. I thank him. I appreciate him. And the next time when I'm there for Cameroon, when I get opportunity, I would definitely buy you 3 Expo, even 1 crate sub, 2 crate sub. Yes, I appreciate that. And I want to make all black legs and they go watch that live interview. When I go listen. They don't do other ones than with Professor Victor Nye or na Julius, Professor Julius. They don't do other ones then. Listen to them. We, for our platform, we like knowledge. Now, why that we encourage every single person to go for school? We know to stop no picking, making no go for school. Everyone should have an education. And now, why that way? We will go take content from the Amber terrorists, their side. We can't broadcast them for here. We will play just for this live broadcast today. We don't play wait away. Chris Anu talk about devastation. We don't play the interview with Tibon Nagy, and then we don't play the interview with Rebecca Tinsley. Play interview with Dr. Christoph Hoffman. Play interview with Tibon Nagy. We take their contents from their own platforms. We play them for our own. They cannot do the same with us because the truth. Not their worst enemy, my country people then. Today, now Friday the 16th of September 2022. Once more, I apologize for coming a few minutes later than planned. But I hope say, for round up this live broadcast, when I don't understand the origin of this picture, this was the beginning of the biggest Anglophone lie ever told. This was it. On that bridge on the Mungo, they bring this fake UN flag where they buy them for gift shop. For come bamboozle a lie, a blatant, public, disgusting, deceitful, and a reprehensible lie. Deceitful and reprehensible. Now Simon Munzu, your own words, not be my own. I hope so we don't talk about that one when I understand. Now, I encourage you now once more for watch the full interview with Dr. Munzu. And not be get opportunity to come play everything where we discuss on that day. But I implore you, I encourage you, and I ask of you for go watch the full interview. Go and watch it. It's there. Like Simon Munzu talk. He don't only. He is 73 years old. It's our turn. Most of we would day here with the watch life for here. We are youth. We are under the age of 40. 99% of the people the way they carry this ambassador nonsense, they be below the age of 40. It's time for the people that like Simon Munzu or Dr. Simon Munzu, sorry. People them like Nijon Frundi, people them like Pa, Philemon Young, and all the Anglophone statesmen, them they don't hold. Now our time is for take over the baton. And in order to take over the baton, we must stop with the lies. We must stop with the deliberate deceit where we deceive ourselves. We must stop for the propagate ignorance and encourage stupidity. We must embrace education, embrace reality and the truth. We must educate ourselves. And one way to do that is to listen to the people who know the truth, who were there, and be able to distinguish between truth and reality. One way to do that is to get an education. The best way to do that is to read multiple sources. Do not just believe what Dr. Simon Munzu says. Do not just accept what someone tells you. Now, why that way? I always tell when I say, don't just take my word for it. Not just can listen to Countryman and you base your decisions or your conclusions on which way Countryman talk. That is ignorance. It means that you're stupid. Go to a different source. Go listen to the other side as well. Go listen to the other side. Go listen to the Amber Fools, their argument as well. Put the two together, compare them. That's how educated people do. That's why you could see we for Country People platform. Me, I did go watch Eric Tato, Sako, Tapang, Ayabacho, Chris Ano. I watch them. Even though most of the time they talk trash, they lie, and all of that. But I watch because I be educated, because I want to be informed. I want to be learned. So I listen to all sides, all direction. Gong Dog for Hong Kong, they talk, I do watch. Many when I there for you when I even cut the clips and send them for me. Or when I tell me say Countryman and not say be busy, but if you watch, they send me the link and then they say it watched Gong Kapo, maybe they live yesterday. Just start watch from minute number 9 to minute number 13. Now wait till this way talk. That helps because I don't get time to go watch 3-hour show for idiot Chris Anu and then come on, go watch another 2-hour show, say Marianta be do this, and then go watch another 3-hour show when Amber Alphabet TV, and then go watch another 15 minute video when Gong Kapo down liver, and then go watch another 2-hour live broadcast for Ayabacho, and then go watch another one where J73 teeth day for day they talk, and then Kuku da beans, and then this and that. I don't have that time. I'm a career person. I don't have all that time in the world. And all of those things where they do and so now within 2 or 3 days. And then when me I go get time now for spend with my family or for then I collect all that information and then break them down for present for giving at this presentation. It's because you guys help. When they send me the relevant chunks and pieces. So instead for me for go you know watch 3-hour live broadcast where Chris Anu do when I go watch them for me. And then just send me 10 seconds, Countryman, go watch from 1 hour 10 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes. So now again only 20 minutes for go watch. And then I go get the material. I go get some information for this. So like I be talk. Don't just take information from one side. Some person may talk today, so it be worse for listen to a case from one side. Better make you not listen to that case at all. It means say if some person talks until you just hear one side now, then you make your conclusion for day. It will be better if you be totally ignorant about the whole situation. Better may you know, don't ever hear. For example, that kind of way, some idiot who just can tell and say, when I see they don't key 3 picking them for they don't key 3 picking them for T junction for Bamenda. They don't. Better for you for hear that kind of information. Better may you not even hear them at all. Because that is half-baked nonsense. It doesn't make any kind of sense. Because now you are forced now to conclude on that information without all the facts. 1, who did it? 2, why? The most important question is why? Always you know that say something don't happen and wusa way happen. That's all you know. It's not good enough for you to make an opinion, let alone a conclusion. Based on that, they don't. What does they don't? And now so many Anglophones they can't report to me. Many of them, Because my number they out there, Anglophone they send me information all the time. You will hear some person just send me picture for 3 or 4 die body them. And then no comment. No comment. And then Namia go then ask you, say, what is happening? What's this? Why did you even send me these pictures? Because I was better off not knowing, not having these pictures. Now you don't just carry picture of die body people, they just stand up for my phone and then go find place on you. And then they go talk, say, they don't kill 3 people then for T Junction. I'm like, so what does that mean? What does that even mean? Who killed them? Why were they killed? When were they killed? Who were they? They don't get name, na amber, na civilian, na military. So now wait till there's some people that talk say half education is dangerous. Very dangerous. Better make the person just be totally, completely ignorant than forget half education. So that is it, my country people then.
Hail, hail, hail the Kumkumasa. We the Cameroonians, we pledge our loyalty. Kumkumasa, Kumkumasa, you shall free our country from terror. And your blessing shall be like the stars above. The Most High God shall be your guide.